Rat. You know what I'm saying?
Is that what you do?
That's some Easter egg shit. I don't remember where I did that Easter egg or what it means anymore, but
I think you did that in the year 2004.
Rat. You know what I'm saying? That AK-47. You know what I'm saying? Rat. Anyways, so today's kind of like an impromptu podcast. Not impromptu. It's a normal Monday podcast, but it's one of these, like, I don't have a real topic, but I kind of do because I have some things I want to talk about. And it's going to be one of these where I jump off deep ends and go to some sideways and we jump around doing some shit. So let me start by saying that I finished Fringe. So that'd be the first thing we talk about. I finished Fringe. And I haven't, by the time that you guys see this upload, I would have reviewed it on my Instagram account like I do with my series. So, like, if you'll notice, I've done a lot more reviews, and it's because I haven't been putting out YouTube videos. Because it's summer, and summer just, it's hard to do things here, and super happy fun time adventure days are, like, harder to plan because it's so freaking hot. And then, like, my vagina gets in a tiffy, and then I don't want to be outside because it's so freaking hot, even though I work out at like 114 degree weather for some reason. And so we haven't been doing enough, or we haven't been doing a lot of stuff for me to put content on this channel. And so the podcast kind of take up that spot. And then also, what was my point to this?
I don't know.
Long story short, I haven't been doing a lot of content on Motivated Results, and the podcasts have been kind of holding this channel down. And so, fudge, I lost my point of thought here. Long story short, there's not a lot of content. So, that was my point. I've been watching a lot of TV shows, and that's why I've been reviewing a lot of these, because I do a lot. Apparently, that's what I do. I do reviews and shit. And so, the show that you kept recommending and talking super highly of has been Fringe. And so by now I would have done a review on it. And here's my very surface review on Fringe, which is probably what I posted on the channel, is I liked it. It's a really good show. Mm-hmm. I think first season, the problem is I can't remember first season anymore. But first season, I want to even give it like a 4 out of 5. I want to give second, third, and fourth season like a 5 out of 5. And I'm a harsh ass rater, so I don't give 5 out of 5s. Okay, that's a pretty fucking like I don't. That's a pretty not even generous, because I think it's earned it. It's a really fucking good show. And fifth season, I almost gotta demote it though. Fifth season, I gotta give it like a 3.9 out of 5.
You know, the last season, man?
I did not like the last season. So we'll talk about that a little bit. And keep in mind, once again, I'm a very harsh rater, giving it a 3.9, because it is, dude, I'm telling you, man, this is probably one of my top 3 series, like, ever, TV series.
Told you.
It's that fucking good writing, like, and that's an intentional fuck there. Like, it's not like I slipped up. Like, it's such a good writing on that. And I don't want to include the first season because I can't remember. Like, I literally rushed through this series in like 3 weeks because Amazon's about to remove it from their list, and I think so is Netflix. So if you guys want to watch this, you're kind of screwed until it.
Well, you gotta get Hulu. I got Hulu.
Okay, then get on Hulu. But it's so fucking good, man. Like, as far as I
told you, and you were like putting off. You're like, no, that shit's straight homosexual.
Well, because you like some weird shit, but
it's great.
We don't always agree, but
brilliant.
It's so fucking good writing. The writing is brilliant, and I think like Game of Thrones, this show. And I don't know what my third pick would be, and I'm not going to list them in what order I pick them in, because I'd have to really give it some deep thought. But they're definitely up there, man. Like, it's such a fucking good show. And the only reason I haven't reviewed Game of Thrones is because it's still ongoing. And if it has a shitty ending or something pisses me off about it, where it doesn't make sense in the characters' personas, if you will, like, I'm going to have to demote the rating. So that's why I haven't rated Game of Thrones. But this, for sure, season 1, I can't remember. It's either a 4 or 5 out of 5. Season 2, 3, 4 are definitely a 5 out of 5. And once again, man, I am not one of these people that strokes some dicks here. Like I am a hard ass rater, and freaking 5 out of 5 is hard to get.
Yeah.
Fifth season. Let's talk about fifth season. I'm not a fan of fifth season. I'm thankful for a fifth season because it looks like they rushed it because they weren't going to get a fifth season.
Yeah.
And so I'm thankful that there was a fifth season. I'm thankful that there was an ending. When I watch shows and they don't have an ending, like I get fucking frustrated because
Give them the example.
What, like Angel?
Exactly.
Yeah, man. And Angel has got a sweet. It's not the best written show, but it's got a sweet spot for me because of like the history I have with that show. Just like Dragon Ball Z. Like Dragon Ball Z isn't the best written show. It's not like the best anime ever, but it's got a soft spot for me because I grew up with that show. I grew up with Dragon Ball. And so then I transitioned to Dragon Ball Z. In fact, I'm probably more like I've seen this meme online, which I'm not going to find for this podcast, but there's this meme where, you know, the Neo blue and green pill. And it's like, which one do you get to pick one. And on one, you have Dragon Ball, you have Dragon Ball Super. And on the other one, you have Dragon Ball Z and GT or some shit like that. So you get to pick one of the two pills. And man, I would definitely pick Dragon Ball over Dragon Ball Z, and I'm probably like in the weird niche that would pick that. Yeah,
you are.
Because
actually, I would pick that because I don't want to talk about GT.
I know, but assuming GT isn't there, like I love Dragon Ball Z, like it's such a good show, but I grew up with Dragon Ball, man. I grew up with fucking little Goku, and I think that's why I like Super so much. Not because Super is such a like super great show, because I think Z is still better than Super, but Super reminds me of what Dragon Ball was. It was like a cartoony, like fighting show. It was like Looney Tunes-ish. It was toony in a sense. And they've brought that back with Super. There's so many funny things that go on in Super where I laugh so hard at Super because it reminds me of Dragon Ball.
Oh, Vegeta making the sushi for
Vegeta
years.
being a bitch in the series. And I know people hate that because people want Vegeta to be so good. And look, if I was to personify myself in any one character, I probably would be Vegeta over Goku, for sure. Because Goku is so lighthearted. And although I'm lighthearted in these podcasts and in these videos, I'm 90% of the time, like I'm way more stoic and Vegeta like, where he's like trying to be the best, blah, blah, blah. And I'm not, without sounding douchey in saying that. But at the same time, I don't like Vegeta. But, you know, the funny situations with Beerus and the things with the Elder Kai guy and like those funny things remind me of Dragon Ball. But once again, I digress. I have a sweet spot for Dragon Ball, but it's not the best written show. But Fringe is so fucking well written, man.
Told you, man.
It's so well written. But let me talk about season 5. So I'm thankful for 5 because there was a season 5, and I knew they had to wrap up the Invader or the what are they called, the Observers. Mm-hmm. They had to wrap that up because they've been teasing that for 5 seasons. But I didn't like how it felt rushed. I didn't like how they just threw away essentially the character of their daughter. Like it's like this character that you kind of wanted to get attached to, but they just threw it away right away. They just threw her away.
Hey man, you gotta change the future.
It was definitely rushed. You could tell by the episodes, by the writing style, and then like the whole scavenger hunt for the fucking pieces was a little annoying.
Hey man, stuff is hard.
And I didn't like how they seemed like at first Walter was getting his old persona back, but then like it was really disregarded the rest of the season.
Because he didn't.
But he never removed the brain piece. So it's like he was turning into him, and then all of a sudden he just stopped.
Yeah, because he was like, I don't want to be that person.
But if you're turning into somebody, you can't just stop yourself from just not being somebody.
Dude, it's a TV show.
It's still not. It doesn't. That's what I'm saying.
I think they cover it. I haven't seen season 5 in a long time. I think he says something. They cover it.
I don't think
they put the piece of brain back in him.
They did. They did in the first 2 episodes of season 5.
Didn't he take it back out?
No. He was thinking about it, but Nina didn't want to do it. The redhead chick, the old chick. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, I think when shows I feel fail me, or I feel like not fail me, but what I feel like when shows fail the viewer is when you build a character to be something and they don't fit that personification is the wrong word. They don't fit that character type. character type, whatever. You build somebody to be something, and when they do something outside of that realm of who they are, it's a little weird. So I thought that was a little weird. Once again, I'm thankful for the ending, but the ending, I wish they would have explained it, because they're dealing with some heavy shit when you're talking about.
You gotta watch it like
spoilers. By the way, this is a hella spoiler-filled show. When you're talking about time travel and stuff, like, there, you need to explain your rules, because time travel is still very theoretical. And so I don't know if the time travel rules of Dragon Ball apply to the rules of Fringe, that apply to the rules of BioShock Infinite, that apply. You know what I'm saying? Like the
rules of BioShock Infinite apply to the rules of Fringe.
So like
the rules of Dragon Ball, they just apply to themselves.
So what are your thoughts on the ending? So at the end, which by the way, two scenes almost made me bawl like a little bitch on that show. The scene where they get to the cow, and he finally like calls Astrid by her name, and she realizes that he's just been fucking with her all this time, and he knew her name, and he called her by her name. That shit almost made me bawl like a bitch. And like the scene where he takes the kid through the portal, and like that shit almost made me cry like a bitch. I was like, them feels, man, them feels. Like that was some emotional shit. Like you didn't like when you found out the observer guy or what was his name? September. When you found out September was going to take the kid over, you were like, cool. And then September gets shot. Spoilers like a motherfucker again. September gets shot, and you're just like, fuck, man. Walter's never getting no love. And so you felt bad. Oh, another, which by the way, before I forget it, so I'm just going to say shit before I forget it. The fact that in the beginning they tell you that that Spock betrayed them, and they just never touched on that again, was like a little bit of a weak point in the plot. Because remember, he was ambered with them, but in the end, he just cut off his hand because he just needed his hand to access stuff. But they never talked about why they betrayed betrayed him for the. I think like that was a little bit weak. But once again, the season was rushed.
No, they rushed it.
Yeah, and that's and once again, if Josh Whedon, no, not that one, was J.J. Abrams, same dudes to me. If these guys had to fight the Fox network to give them the extra episodes, I appreciate it. I'm thankful. It just felt a little rushed, and I get it. And I feel like you could have taken out some of the episodes where they're scavenging for the metals and the magnet and the blah, 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 and worked more on the characters, because at 5 seasons in, you're way more involved or way more emotionally connected to the characters every time. You're way more emotionally, and she does it too, probably just a fucking business off. She's getting worse.
Getting louder.
Yeah. Baby, come here. So by season 5, you're so emotionally invested that it's like, I want the payoff for the characters. I don't give a shit about the little magnets and the you know, whatever. So overall, I felt like that was a little bit weak. But you know, once again, dude, it's a phenomenal show. I will recommend that everybody watches it, and I think that overall, everybody needs to see the show if they have the opportunity to.
The biggest payoff was for Walter, because in the end, he finally forgave himself for everything he did.
You're right. Well, I think he almost did when he got that paper of the flower or whatever.
Yeah.
Which, by the way,
was in like season 2. You didn't think that show was ever going to be relevant again, did you?
No, but I think it's a little bit of a waste unless he explains it to Peter or Dawson's friend. If he ever explains it to him, if he never did, then the kind of flower with the no explanation doesn't make sense.
Because they haven't done that yet.
So that was what I wanted you to explain to me. So what's your understanding of the ending of the show? So Walter goes into the portal, and then it makes some sort of paradox where they came the future. If you go back, everything plays out the same up until the observers don't come into the park, right? They don't appear at the park. So does that mean that Walter is alive at that point?
Mm-hmm.
Because from what I was reading online, they were saying that it makes a paradox where the moment he goes into the portal, he stops existing in further back in time. So by the time that he's at the park with his daughter, Walter's already been gone and disappeared.
I think that is true. Yeah, he's been disappeared for a while.
But he just
gave up and disappeared.
That's a little weird.
I think Peter knew what that thing was.
I don't remember ever them talking about the petal or the rose. He told the observer, and he told that one crazy guy who mailed them the picture of the flower, which, by the way, that shit made me bawl a little bit too. When he gives them the thing that he needed the most for his sanity. Like, that shit is like, I was like, I need to sit down for a little bit, not think about some manly like deadlifting. That was some emotional shit.
When he gives him the flower, I don't think that's for Peter so much as just for the audience to finally see that he himself forgave himself for everything that he did. He did a lot of shitty shit.
So is the idea that the video that he recorded for himself that he ended up seeing with Peter in the future something that he would have found later on as well?
I think so.
Yeah, I wish they would have been clearer on those things.
Once again, I got to watch it again. It's been a while.
Because
I just know that the ending is supposed to be like he forgave himself. That's what you should take away from it.
Yeah, he did. And I did take that. The only, like, I while I do appreciate an ending, I hate those open endings. Like the fucking Sopranos ending, which pissed me the fuck off. I was like, this is a non-ending. You might as well just not had an episode.
Yeah.
You might as well literally have not had an episode.
Hey, man. Still better ending than Spartacus.
We'll talk about that some other day. I still got some anger built up on that one.
Yeah.
But long story short, a phenomenal episode. Season 5 to me felt rushed, and I can't give it a 5 out of 5. It's not a phenomenal writing. Some characters felt a little bit out of place. I just think which, by the way, I thought it was a little bit of a plot hole that Peter put the observer thing in his head, essentially made him like Neo. They pulled it out. Walter said that if they didn't pull it out, his neurology was essentially going to change.
Yeah.
But the moment he took it out, he said his brain would come back to normal. I'm like, when the brain comes back to normal, why not just throw that shit back in there and then run this plan and make it flawless?
I don't think that works that way. Your brain can only take so much.
Well, then throw it on Olivia. Have her run it.
She couldn't do it. He could only do it because he's from Earth 2.
I don't remember them saying that ever.
I'm pretty sure I said that.
Ever.
Pretty sure I said that.
Ever.
In season 2 or 3 when they talk about that shit.
No.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Uh-huh.
No, because they never
You gotta watch it 3 times. You gotta watch what caption on.
I'm not watching. Anyways, long story short, that to me was a little bit of a plot hole. Because you could have taken any of the Resistance guys and done that if it wasn't Olivia. Which, by the way, what did you get from the end? So the last piece where the observer guy, the guy that's got like rage against them all for some reason, now he's got emotions and shit. And the little boy, he's like about to kill Olivia. And is it Olivia that pushes the truck into him and kills him? Or is it the little boy that pushes the truck and kills him?
It's the little boy.
So he was the one that causing all the lightning and shit?
Yeah. Okay,
I didn't get what that meant, like whether it was her or him. So he was like crazy powerful. So I was expecting for Spock to have been like the one that created them in the future. Like when that guy went to the future and he was like reporting to the leader or some shit, I thought it was going to be like Spock. And so what I never understood was because they had that in one of the seasons, I think 4, they had almost that refresh where Peter made it so I think it was when he made it so the bridge can work for both universes. So
but he wasn't there, right?
What I never so in the second season when they found out about the other place and Olivia goes to the other dimension, meets with him and has tea, right? Mm-hmm. Is that the Spock from Universe 1 or is it the Universe 2 Spock?
From Universe 1.
So what happened in Universe 2 Spock?
What are you talking about? That's universe. When she goes over, in season 1,
yes,
that's Universe 1 Spock.
Right. So what happened to Universe 2 Spock?
Universe 2 Spock is the guy who shows up in season 4. That's
so
not the same Spock. Those are 2 different Spocks.
Okay, so Universe 1 Spock. Okay, so Universe 1 jumps to the other side, and then dies. Yeah. Trying to give them the energy to go back to number 1. Then he goes into Olivia's body.
Yeah.
And then what happens then? Does he die?
He dies. His brainwaves disappear finally. So he's dead.
Okay. And the Universe 2 Spock was the one... See, to me, I think it's the opposite. Because season 4 Spock, his whole thing was like... Remember, he had the conversations with what's Peter's dad's name? Walter. He has the conversations with Walter saying... Hey, remember how you said we could just start over, make our own dimension the way we wanted it? But Walter 1 was essentially the one that had those conversations and had the brain piece removed. So to me, it almost seems like it's the opposite. Walter, the one she had tea with, must have been the one from 2 because he never had... The one that had the conversations with Walter that was a little crazy was Walter 1.
No. You can't see me. I'm shaking my head. No.
Okay, so explain that to me.
It could not be because all the same stuff and all the same conversations still happen with Earth 2 Walter, or Walternate as they were calling him, with Earth 2 Spock. The same stuff happened.
See, I don't know if I agree with that because I think the first one, so first Walter, the original one we're following, Walter 1 I'm going to call him, and he'll be Walternate. Walter 1 was the one that ended up getting crazy but because he felt so far into the science, while Walter Knit was the one that you guys that didn't watch this show are going to get fucking insane. I'll put an annotation for those that want to skip the Fringe stuff. But Walter Knit was the one that after his son was stolen, he was like so distraught that all he wanted was revenge on the other side.
Yeah.
So I think he spent all of his time finding ways to kick the other side's ass.
Yeah.
But not like trying to fucking create all this science to create his own world.
Yeah, but those are the conversations he had before Peter got taken by Earth 1 Walter.
I don't know, man. I'm not convinced on your point.
Yeah, man, that has to be it.
I don't think so. I think it could be the others. I also feel like Peter was the big piece that if, for example, I feel like there was always going to be one crazy Walter. And because one Peter was taken from Walternets to regular Walter, Walternet became the crazy one. But I think if Walternet would have created the antidote, this is just a fucking straight up theory in my head. It's some Game of Thrones theory shit. If Walternet would have created, or he did create the antidote, but if he would have figured it out and given it to Peter, and he would have lived and created and stayed in that dimension, then the other Walter would have been the crazy one, because he would have just gone crazy with his experiments and not given a shit.
Yeah, they were going to go crazy anyways.
Yeah, like one was always going to go crazy.
Yeah,
all right,
they were both going to go crazy. Like that's not the thing that was going to change.
Yeah, that's what I got out of it too. What was the other thing I was going to ask you?
Like, they're the same person. The circumstances that happen between them are what change them.
I wish they would have gone into a little bit more of how the observers were made. I know they're supposed to be just like an evolved human or whatever, but I wish they would have gone more into like why they fucking went those steps. Also, why they needed less oxygen. Essentially, they lived better in less oxygen-filled atmosphere. That was a little weird too. What else? Oh, overall though, man, I'm nitpicking the shit out of the show, but it is a phenomenal show. I do think that if you get the opportunity to watch it, you definitely need to watch it.
RoboCop's time travel episode was my favorite episode.
Which one's that one?
Where RoboCop time travels. Peter Weller, the old dude. He had a bunch of like clocks in his arm to time travel. He's the one who gave Walter that little.
Oh yeah. He was a little fucking crazy because he was all like his skin was weird.
Well, yeah, and they kept thinking, oh, he's trying to change time or whatever, but really he wasn't trying to change
that. Yeah.
No, he wasn't trying to save her. He was just trying to die with her.
Oh, he was trying to die with her. Is that the thing? Yeah, that episode is a very good episode because it's emotional as shit and it makes you contemplate the concept of like fate and whether or not
the fact that you didn't get that the first time is making me wonder if I had to watch all these with you.
I'm not rewatching these bitches. No, I didn't.
Because they kept thinking, oh, he's trying to save her, and then when they get to him, they're like, you can't save her. He's like, fools, I know that. I'm not trying to save her. You can't change fate, or you can't stop people from dying.
Maybe I just didn't catch that right away. I guess you're right.
Yeah, he's like, you can't stop people from dying. I know that, and then he disappears.
I almost think it's more poetic that they wouldn't have added that, where it would have been like it would have made you think, is there some fate shit going on here? You know what I'm saying? Like it's gonna, but then the whole observer thing goes out the window if that happens too.
Well, that is the fate thing, that you can't stop people from dying. You can change time. You can't stop people from dying.
I guess, but I mean, I guess that would mean that Peter was always meant to fucking survive.
Mm-hmm.
On a total different note, which Olivia did you like the most?
I mean, Earth 2 Olivia was a straight hoe.
I don't agree, man. I think Earth 2. I think I like Earth 2 Olivia way more.
Yeah, that seems right.
Earth 1 Olivia was cool. She was like a little too like cold at times. Like she was not very emotional. Earth 2 was a little bit more sassy. Like she was a little bit more playful. And I could totally see why that nerdy dude who is not gonna get any freaking play on this dimension
was like,
went to the other one.
one.
Yeah, he dipped, and that's why I was like, when he started dipping over, and I saw that he started having a crush on Olivia too. I was like, they're gonna have to kill off the cool version of him, aren't they? And yep, they killed off the cool version of him. I felt bad when they killed the cool version of him, and I felt bad when they killed the what's the Animeus looking dude?
Oh,
He kind of looks like Animeus to me.
Yeah. He does kind of look like him.
What was his
The
name?
captain.
The captain guy. When
Whatever.
he died, when they sent his body across and he was just like half a body, I was like, that's some dark shit.
Yeah.
But overall, I did like the fact that Peter kind of reconciled with his biological father and then also reconciled with Walter in the end. And I liked how like he did have that interaction with his mom. He did have a chance to actually kind of see her and talk to her. And she actually seemed like the most level-headed and cool out of all the characters. Like, not out of all the characters, but after everything was said and done and they all experienced so much shit, like she wasn't resentful. She wasn't angry. She was just kind of like whatever. And she actually like forgave. Oh, that was another time where I was emotional as fuck. She forgave Walter. But you know what was emotional as fuck for me? When Walter forgave Walter, I was like, damn, that's some...
Yep.
That's some feels there too, man. I was like, because Walter needed that. Like, and look, man, they're essentially the same fucking person at that point in time. That's where they diverged. So the idea that they wouldn't have done the same thing that they each did was a little fucking crazy. But you still got to be a little angry that you didn't get to fucking spend time with your son. But
yeah,
man, it's such a well written show. Such a well fucking written show.
That's what I like about that show, that they do crazy dramatic shit too, but they also like talk about shit.
Yeah. Well, you get really attached to the characters. And you know, in the beginning of the show, you get attached or you get involved because you want to see all this crazy science. But by the end of the show, you don't give a fuck about the science. You just want to know about the characters and what's going on with them and what the resolutions they're going to have.
Like that, like on episode 3, they show that little boy who's like you don't see ever again until the last season.
Yeah, when he sees September, and that's when I was just like, that motherfudger is a what are they called again? Observer. I was like, dang.
Yeah, you're like that little boy from fucking episode 3. That was literally 5 years ago.
It's crazy. Yeah, no, it's such a well written show, man. It's a phenomenal show for sure. I wish
you would have given him the full last season. That would have been good. Put all his plans out.
It's crazy that Nina in Earth 2 was a bad one.
Yeah, right.
That was a nice little twist. I was like, whoa, that's crazy. But I mean, it always seems like there's always gonna be a balance. Some of them, they're always gonna be crazy ones, and always gonna be good ones.
Hey man, it's just like Luther said. There's infinite amount of worlds, just with small changes.
Yeah, it's good, man. I feel like Peter should have got some training at some point. You know what I'm saying? He always seems like he was getting beat up, but.
Yeah.
Like at some point, you're like, "Yo, dog, you're dealing with this stuff. You should like at least get some weapons training and some."
Like he could hold his own against like kind of like one person, maybe if he got the jump on that person.
Well, my thing is just like, look, man, Olivia had to take over your body to beat up that one dude.
Yeah, David Robert Jones, that bastard.
I'm like, come on, man, just like get some jiu-jitsu training or something. Get some
some
Muay Thai in there once a week.
He seemed like he was really on it like the first season and like a half, but then after that he's like, nah, I'm mellow out.
Yeah,
I'm cool.
I'm gonna tell you this right now, man. I'm gonna have to research this, but if the Walter dude at least did not get some sort of fucking award for that, I'm gonna be pissed. That dude is a phenomenal actor.
Yeah, man,
he's so fucking good. It's not even funny. Like he played the Walternate, like a little bit more cold, callous, angrier version of himself. Still very put together version of himself, clean cut. And then he played Walter like a fucking instrument. Like so good, so fucking good. Yeah, by the end, like you feel for the motherfucker. Like in the beginning, you're like, well, what's going on? And then you're like, oh, he stole the kid. I'm like, what an asshole. And then you're like, oh, I get it. Yeah, I totally like you empathize with him throughout the fucking series. Like you're like, oh shit, you feel bad for him. You're like, yeah, I probably would have made the same decision.
Yeah,
there's
like, not the question of why did he do that. They're like, no, this is
by the end you totally understand it. Yeah, to me it's like, and I don't know if you agree with me on this. To me, it's like the equivalent of like Jaime Lannister. In the beginning, you fucking hate that guy. He seems like an asshole, and towards the end, you're like, this guy's not a bad guy. He's just fucking misunderstood. He has some growing to do, but he's a little misunderstood.
Yeah, he's still my favorite character on Game of Thrones.
But yeah,
I loved him from because at the first I'm like, why is he fighting old Ned Stark? This is douchey. But then when they capture him in season 2, and he's talking to the old lady Stark, and he's like, why are you guys mad at me? I do the same thing as you people, except you look down on me. And I'm like, this motherfucker's right. You're my new favorite forever. I'm like, bang, Captain Phasma. Go balls deep in that.
Yeah, man. So back to Fringe. I think it's such a good show. That guy he's been the only one that's dumbfounded me in a while on his acting pedigree. Like, he's so good. Like, even those heartful, tearful moments. Like, he's like, his eyes are cry, like, teary eyed, and I'm like, holy shit, man.
He's a really good actor, man.
He is an insanely good actor. Like, name a good actor. Name a good actor.
Johnny Depp.
Oh shit, that's a hard one. He is probably on par with Johnny Depp. The thing of Johnny Depp is, like, he's so good at the eccentric characters. Like, all of his characters are very eccentric. You look at the pirate guy. You look at the
non-pirate guy,
the Mad Hatter guy. You look at Edward Scissorhands isn't as eccentric.
I never seen that movie.
But dude, it's musical, man. It's hard to do. Long story short,
is it a musical?
Yeah. Johnny Depp is a fantastic actor. Give me another actor.
This is really good. Dang, man, I'm drawing a blank right now. You know who's pretty decent, actually, if you give him credit? James Franco. Dude from Your Highness.
Yeah, he's better than James Franco.
Yeah.
Like,
I was just saying, like, in comparison, he's a good actor. Like, he always does funny stuff.
Yeah.
But, like, when he does serious
stuff. He's a good
stuff.
actor, though. Yeah, he's a good actor.
He does serious.
Well, he 58 Days Later.
Yeah.
Like, he was good in that. Yeah. No, I mean, this guy is so good, man. Like, I don't know if he's not interested in getting more work, but he's so fucking
I think
good.
he does a lot. He did a lot of, like, Broadway and, like, stuff in, like, England, like, plays and stuff.
Like proper acting.
Yeah, like proper acting, like actual acting.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. He's surprised the shit out. He's by far the best actor on that show. I don't think there's anyone better. Don't get me wrong. Olivia was good because she was able to play that dual character, very opposing characters, very different. But that guy's on another fucking level.
He is, man.
That guy is
he's on Lord of the Rings too. I think I told you that. You didn't believe me.
Who is he in Lord of the Rings?
He's a steward of Gondor.
Oh fuck, that's some deep ass references. I don't have to Google that.
Okay, I'll give you the quick synopsis because me and my sister are watching all three right now. On Return of the King, Gandalf and Pippin or Merry, I forget which one. They go to Gondor, which is the White City, and that's where Aragorn is supposed to be because he's the rightful king. But they have a steward there, and that steward is Walter Bishop, and he's there.
He's the one he's the one in charge.
Yeah, he's the one in charge.
Was he the one that was being whispered by that wizard dude?
No, it's another dude. I
have to rewatch it.
But this one, he kind of plays an asshole on there, and he has two kids. He has Boromir, who dies in the first one, and that kind of drives him more crazy. And then his other son. He didn't like his other son that much.
So I've known you for like 19 years. And like, today's the first day I realized how into Lord of the Rings you are. I've never known you were this into Lord of the Rings.
Oh, we can get deep.
And the one on this podcast, I got other shit to talk about. Yeah. And we're 33 minutes in.
Hey man, when you start talking about Fringe. But yeah, he's the other dude. And then they end up killing him. But he's pretty good in there too. You're gonna when you see him in there, you're like, man, you're such an asshole. Like, die on that fire.
This guy he fucking surprised me at how good of an actor he is.
Also, other random nerd reference, he was Brainiac in Superman Unchained.
Yeah, you can't tell me animated voice because I don't ever put it together.
Oh,
this is Kevin Conroy or the Joker.
Such a good voice in there.
I don't know any of them.
Such a good voice on there too.
But
Go watch Superman Unchained too. Superman fucking whoops ass.
He's so good. So long story short, enough talking about Fringe, because those of you that haven't watched it and aren't interested in watching it are not going to be interested, and I probably just spoiled the crap out of you.
I don't want to be friends with you.
But it's a phenomenal show. It's quite frankly once again one of the top 3 shows.
Told you.
And that's unbiased shows, because like I have a lot of shows I'm biased towards, like once again Dragon Ball Z, Angel, Spartacus, but these aren't the best written shows. These aren't the best shows. In the
me
world.
And my sister watched Angel start to finish again.
Uh-huh.
It's pretty decent.
It's a decent show, but it's not the best show. It's not the best show. It's got some like
that's Josh Whedon.
Yeah, no, I know. Those two.
He wrote that,
but
he wrote the Avengers.
Long story short, I think
Age of Ultron.
Yeah, no, I know. He does all the Marvel shit. Whatever, dude. I'm not a names person, man. I'm not a names person. I don't give a fuck.
He just did those 2.
Whatever. Anyways, long story short, it's a phenomenal show. It was. I felt a little rushed watching it, but I'm glad I got it done before I lost it. But insanely good show. Once again, fifth season. I was expecting a big holy shit, and there wasn't a big holy shit, especially coming off of the 4th season. The 4th season was so fucking strong. Like with the whole like...
Shit was straight fire, wasn't it?
The 4th season, man, I was like, I can't miss a fucking minute of this, because there's so much going on. I'm trying to put shit together in my head like I am a Fringe scientist.
And then you're always wrong.
And I was always wrong, except for the fact that I told you that Spock was holding everything down. Yeah. I told you that from freaking season 2, because I was like, where the fuck's the other Spock at? What's he doing? What is he rubbing one off all the whole time? What's going on?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, so good. Which, by the way, what I want to know is when they found him on the boat and that dude just rings the bell and just disappears. How the hell do you do that?
Hey man,
he's got some powers, huh?
Mind powers.
And which, by the way, cocky as shit for Walter to shoot her in the head and just be like, she'll be all right.
Yeah, she'll be fine.
She'll be fine. Which, by the way, she was super powerful. She got like the best gifts out of all the crazy test children.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That was good. But anyways, on a different topic. So, and I feel like this next topic is going to be a little ranty. Man, Fringe is so good. If you get the opportunity, go on and watch it. It's really good. All right. Topic number 2.
All right.
It's more of a rant too. But I did want to get into it. So like I listen to the podcast as I edit them, as I prepare them. And I even listen to them like after the fact, because I want to improve upon it. I want to see where our audio is. I want to see how the flow of the conversation goes.
That quality control.
I want to know like how well it flows, any dead spots, whether or not there's things we need to improve, whether there's things in our dynamic that we need to improve, if we need to maybe think about bringing other people in. And sometimes I just like get ideas, and also I have to re-listen to them if I want to clip them up and throw teasers on during the week, right? And every once in a while, you and I will say some stupid shit. You and I will like say some stupid shit. Like you do it a lot on your funny channel when you talk about the Brazilians in MMA. And I know you and I will say some stupid shit sometimes. Like last week, I think I said retard or something, and you were like, you can't say retard. And I was like, I know. And I've said the N word a number of times, slipped up, and I think you did it on the last podcast. And I guess my rant is about intent. It's about what is the meaning behind the words, and that's really the key situation for everything. Like when I reference what people are saying, what people are doing, and that's really the most difficult thing to pinpoint is the intent. When I'm, and probably the most blatant example of this is my beautiful vocabulary throughout these podcasts. I throw 4-letter expletives. You know what I'm saying?
That public school.
I took too much coffee. 24 ounces is too much with all this sugar.
That's what she said.
I throw a lot of 4-letter words often, and even in last week's podcast where we were talking about pornography, we were talking about sex, we were talking about a lot of stuff. Some of those things, whether it's the cuss words, whether it's the sex talk, whether it's like us making dirty, stupid dick jokes or whatever, like there's no ill will behind those things. There's no negativity. A lot of it's just for laughs. A lot of it's just because the cuss words are really there because I have a hard time filling blank space. Or sometimes I just let my mind roam and say whatever. and I'm not really filtering things prior to saying them. And intent is key, and intent is very important. And I feel like people, it's hard to assume and not assume. It's easy to assume. It's hard to assess what people's intentions and feelings are behind the words. And when you and I mess up, or for lack of a better word, fuck up, and throw a cuss word out, or maybe accidentally say the N word, there's no ill will behind that. Like, there's no negativity. There's no. I like threes, mother fudger. There's no reason for people to get upset or butthurt. I think it's hard to sometimes assess intent, and that's probably the most difficult piece of everything. But in the end, I don't want people to like misconstrue us as like people that aren't like really thinking about or conscious of what the real things out in the world are and what people's feelings should be on things. And that's another reason why I started this podcast, is because I feel like when you have like long conversations like this, when you're talking to somebody for an hour about a topic, and although ours do float a lot, for example, last week was a very dedicated podcast on pornography and sex a little bit. And when you have a real discussion with people where you're really trying to hash out things, that's when you really find out who people are and what the bullshit is and what it isn't. And that's why you can't get a politician to do a long form conversation like this. They're going to try to bypass the topics. They're going to try to go around things and not give you what their real thoughts are on things. And when you're having a real conversation with people, you really get to know people's intent and their ideas and what they think about things. And I guess my point to this rant is, take some of these things that we say for jokes, for comedy, lightheartedness, because that's what they are. A lot of this is just, some of it is entertainment. And I'll tell you what my feelings are on things. I'm going to be pretty straight up. But I hope that nobody's insulted with certain things and nobody gets offended, because some of it's just for jokes. But some of it, like the pornography talk, really is to hash out some of these taboo things that nobody wants to talk about. Like, not a lot of people are like, I can't play this podcast, the pornography podcast, at my work, because people are going to get pretty upset.
Yeah.
It's not a PC topic. But at the same time, I think that keeping these things taboo and not discussing them like adults is a big deal.
Oh, there's just a time and place for it. Like, I'm not going to go show the innie outie video to, like, my students.
Well, that's different. Those are kids.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. There's, like, a place for it. Like, I'm not going to go over there and, like, show them this. What I am going to go over there and show them is, like, Sesame Street. Because you need to learn how to count.
Yeah, I guess my point is just
and the same thing with you. You're not going to go take, like, the pornography one or any other thing over there to your work and be like, hey, guys, look what I found.
Right. No, but my point more is, like, about the intent of figuring out who they are. For example, okay, let me give you a better example. So let's say that, and I hate putting people on blast, but remember I made that joke last week about Boski's wife. I'm like, you're letting her listen to the podcast, and she's like, I might not after that one beating the bleep up. That's the tattoo podcast. I'll link below. But and he was laughing about it. He's like, oh, I might after that one. And he was probably joking. But let's say, for the sake of argument, his wife does see these clips, because she does follow me on Instagram. And I'm not saying you're a prude, so don't get upset. I'm just making a point here. I'm using you as an example, even though you didn't say this. Let's say his wife did take offense to something I said. Like, I would hope that she would have listened to the whole podcast and really have gotten our viewpoint, or maybe my viewpoint on things, instead of just instantly dismissing and putting a wall up and then being like, hey, we can't talk anymore. Because I wouldn't want to get to the point where you and I go to California to go visit them or whatnot, and then they're like, yeah, we things are different because she doesn't approve of the things I said, or maybe just even the teaser clips. And I would hope that in that situation, people could sit down and really discuss what people's philosophies are on things and people's thoughts are on things, and really hash things out. I feel like those conversations aren't happening anymore. And
man, it goes back to the same thing. Like, sometimes you have to actually sit down and discuss some things, like, about it. Like, you can't always just react.
You can't always react.
You can't just be like, oh man, those people in North Korea are doing something, nuclear missile attack.
Yeah, no, you can't do
You
that.
can't.
You can't do that.
Can't.
You gotta hash things out, but
And like also, I don't mean like, oh yeah, that's a very extreme example, but like
Yeah.
it's the same for just relationships with anybody. Can't just be like, oh, he did that. Never talking to that person ever again. It's like,
Yeah.
well, let's maybe sit down and discuss our issues.
And that's another reason I started the podcast is because I like having long form conversations with people, and I think this is just an excuse for me to do that and kind of setting a time aside to have these conversations. We need more variety.
You know what show would help you with long discussions about your emotions? Fringe, because they discuss all their emotions and personal issues on there. So if you watch that show, you're perfectly prepared to go have some discussions with people about your issues.
Peter was pretty closed off when he threw the chip in himself, and then that Olivia chick was like hot and cold the whole time, and then she's all pissed off when he slept with the other chick, not knowing it was the other chick. It's just dumb.
Hey man,
that was dumb.
Yeah, no, I always defend Peter. I'm like, he didn't know.
He didn't know. How was he
supposed to know? He didn't know.
He's never been balls deep.
She didn't have a monkey tattoo down there. Even if she did, he didn't see it. Anyways, back to your point.
I'm gonna side with Ross on this one.
Anyways, back to your point. Yeah, no, but seriously, yeah, just sit down and discuss it.
Yeah, and this is once again Boski's wife. This is not against you because I know this is a good example, but I don't know. I guess that was something I definitely wanted to. I wanted to drop some fucking knowledge on this podcast because I think you and I tend to go off script and we have fun, and I think that's like there's many sides of everybody, right? Everybody has different things and different sides of themselves, and I think you and I show certain specific sides, especially when it comes to podcasts or vlogs. Like they're all very funny. They're all very like loosey goosey. They're very like just two dudes just bullshitting around essentially. Mm-hmm. But there is some, there is some discussion for some deeper topics and to hash out some things, at least from our viewpoints. And I wanted to make sure that was kind of discussed a little bit. That way there is something a little bit more formal, I suppose, and maybe some hashtag dropping knowledge on this podcast. If you get
a formal discussion you want to have with us, let us know.
You know what I do wish people would do, though?
We'll Skype you.
You know what I wish people would do?
What?
It would like Hosh Twins where they send like relationship advice questions. I would love to get those. That would be amazing.
That'd be funny. I'll be like, look, man.
Dude, why does it taste like batter at the very end?
Dude, I don't know. We had to find another coffee place. Mine wasn't very good.
Well, it's not the same people from last week. Probably why.
You know who it wasn't? You know who didn't make it?
Who didn't make it?
You know who didn't make it?
Who didn't make it?
Go with the fat ass.
We need to find a new coffee shop with new girls with the fat asses.
Yeah.
We're not going to that foo-foo ritzy one we went to last time.
You know,
that
like,
place
what was it? Rocket Ship. What is it? What the fuck was it called?
Big Tip Coffee? I don't know, man.
Yeah, something like that.
It was the biggest hipster coffee place I've ever seen. The coffee was like a 2 out of 10. Like, it was not good. It was the biggest hipster. It was like one of those places that prides themselves on baking their own beans. Like, that kind of shit. I'm like, look, dog, I like coffee, but you look like you want to fuck coffee.
Yeah, man. I was like,
man, I was doing so good in this podcast up until the F words.
Yeah, that one was a little weird, and because it wasn't like a dedicated coffee place either. It was like a restaurant,
yeah,
and like a creamery and a winery.
It wasn't good, man. I would never go back there. Quite frankly, I'd rather go to Starbucks than go back there. It wasn't good.
Starbucks, all right.
I'd rather go to Starbucks. That's what I'm saying, though. Like, I think I liked the place, Colados, that we've been going to more than I like Starbucks. But,
I like, I gotta try their, like, I normally just get their Frappuccinos at Colados. I gotta try their other ones. Just try and switch it up, you know what I'm saying?
I guess. So, long story short, yeah, I will not be going to that coffee place. But, anyways, yeah, I think I every once in a while I might get into a ranty mode. Back on topic. I might get into a little ranty mode and throw hashtag drop some knowledge up in this bitch. But it's only hashtag drop some knowledge, not up in this bitch.
I'm going to also drop knowledge. I'm going to start a new segment at the end of every podcast.
No.
Called She's a Hoe.
What does that involve?
I'm going to tell you how you know if she's a hoe or not.
Oh, okay. How long does that segment take?
I don't know, 3 minutes, as long as I can think of things in my head.
All right, go for it. So you got 3 minutes.
All right. So, quick story.
I'm done with my rant.
Me and my sister are watching Lord of the Rings, like I told you.
Yes.
We've done that like 30,000 times over the years. And we hadn't seen
All
it.
6 movies?
God, no, I'm not watching the Hobbit trilogy. The dog shit. Just
They're
the first
alright.
three. They're okay.
I will say, like, those movies are visually very beautiful.
Even the Hobbit ones look a little iffy on their...
Now, well, I'm talking about, like, the lore itself, the world, the place they built.
Good.
It's very
All right,
cool.
the Hobbit trilogy is okay. It's not dog shit, but compared to the first three, it's dog shit.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we're watching that, and we were talking. Me and her were talking about tattoos we want to get, and on the ring, the main ring that they're trying to destroy, it has a saying on there. I'm not going to go into what the saying is, but because you're going to think I'm super nerdy.
I already do. Don't worry.
So, anyways, we were saying, oh man, we should get that.
If you got over 50 puffs, I think you're a little nerdy.
I only got 84, yo. Boski got like 97.
You're a little nerdy too. What's your point?
He's my boy.
It's
my boy, Boski. You my boy. Anyway, so we're talking about tattoos we want to get, and she was like, "Oh yeah, you should get that saying." So I started looking some up to see like how people got them, and like it's in a circle, obviously, because it's in the ring.
Dude, I'm gonna have to. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
And so I was like, "Oh, those are cool." So some people got them like one on their arms, like down their arms. I was like, "That's kind of cool."
Oh, you know what you should
Like
do?
that.
Instead of getting it in a straight line, freaking wrap it around your forearm.
Yeah, so some people had like that. I go, that's cool. And my sister was like, it has to be in the circle, because if you're getting it in a line, like that doesn't make sense. That defeats the purpose of it. So
what is it? Fuck it. Now I want to know. What does it say?
It's the one ring to rule them all.
But see, I think you're just doing it because it looks pretty, not because like you're like I'm the ruler of all these other species. Like, what does that mean to you when you have that tattooed on your arm?
Oh, because. See, now I got to go deep into it with you. Because me and my sister just love the end of the first Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
Where Aragorn fights all the Uruk-hai. You're like, what the fuck is that?
I don't know what those are. Go ahead.
So, and then Boromir dies. Like, that ending in the movie is really good. It just, like, done so well. And his, like, dying speech to him is just done so well. We just love that scene.
Okay, but you like the franchise, not exactly like you like the ring itself.
No.
You
It's the devil's ring.
That's what I'm saying. Why would you want the
devil?
devil?
Why the fuck would I want? Why would I get it for the devil?
Have you ever looked into like the creationism and like the break? I saw essentially an org chart that breaks down like their god and then who everybody made who, like the species that were made afterwards and who made who and who Sauron falls in that line.
Okay, see, I don't care that much.
It's actually quite fascinating because it tells you how strong Sauron is in comparison to like their god. So like, I'll find it. I'm not gonna say this correctly, but he's stronger than a wizard in that orc chart, but he's not stronger than one of the gods. There's a few gods, but there's a main one.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like Pokemon. There's Arceus, who's like the big dick Pokemon. He's like the god one. And he made all the legendaries. There's some legendary level ones. And then those made some future ones. Some bottom ones. And Sauron's one of the ones that was made afterwards.
Interesting.
He's like a D level.
So legendary. He's like a demigod.
Yes.
Interesting.
I want to see Lord of the Rings, but when Sauron was in full power, like that scene where they're in war and he's got his mace and he hits those dudes and he just makes them. I want to see that for 2 hours. I want to see that dude being like the Khal Drogo of like Lord of the Rings.
You want to see Sauron the college years?
Yes.
He's just going.
I want to see the college years. On his freshman year.
You see him going raw on chicks?
I do. I want to see him freshman year where he doesn't have the ring. And then by the end, just smashing people.
All types of people, right?
All types.
All types and colors.
Yeah, man.
Shapes.
That's what I want to see. But anyways, you back to your hoe. Girls are hoes.
Anyways. And so I was showing different ones. And then I showed one to my sister. It was this one chick who had it on her thigh.
Oh.
And I showed my sister, and she's like, that chick a hoe.
Yeah, I agree.
And so
That's the
that's
thing.
funny. Yeah. And then
Yeah.
so me and her just started going through pictures, and she's like, "That one's a hoe. That's a hoe." So we came to the conclusion: if you got it, you got the Lord of the Rings saying on your thigh, you're probably a hoe.
Yeah, probably.
If you got it down the spine of your back, probably a hoe.
Maybe. Yeah. What about if you have it on your ankle?
That's cool.
You should get it. The ring saying tattooed on your finger.
That hurt.
Any tattoo's gonna hurt, dog. You know it's gonna hurt.
But it's so small. Like, what do you mean? Like ring size around my finger?
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, that's so
Like
small.
it burned it in your finger after you took it off. That's some gangster shit.
I don't think it would fit on there.
Yeah, it would. They got some thin needles, dog. What are you talking about? You know what hurt less than that? Tattoo on your dick. So be thankful your hand's a lot less.
I'm gonna get Sauron's ball and chain on my dick.
So that when it grows, you're like, that's what's up.
That's what's up.
Letting you know what kind of damage you're about to get.
Oh god. Let me show you this quick YouTube video.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I probably agree with you. That might be a good one.
Yeah, and then where else?
This goes back to our tattoo podcast,
probably
which
goes back.
I'll link down below. Attractive tattoos on women.
I saw the views on that. We got 16 views on that.
Really? Some of the first ones are
Popping
actually
up.
pretty good.
Popping
Some of the first
up.
ones, I think they're declining slowly.
We gotta keep promoting.
Yeah, man.
And by we, I mean me, because I've been lagging on that.
You've been lagging like no other.
Yep.
Yeah.
So in conclusion, she hoe if she got that Lord of the Rings saying on her thigh, down the spine of her back, probably anywhere near her sugar walls.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with you on the swell of the back part or the spine part, but on all the other ones, especially when you said the thigh, and I was like, oh, I agreed with you right then and there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. Yeah, I like the segment. Might be productive.
Hey man, I got tons of them.
Yep.
I gotta get my sister on here.
All right, man. I think we're gonna cut it a little short today. Any last words for people?
No man, just watch out. She might be a hoe. She also a hoe if her name starts with A through Z.
Interesting. Okay. Well, there you go. Once again,
that's a joke. Everybody's name starts with A through Z.
I just want to remind everybody that I have linked the site down below in the description where you can actually take this URL, plug it in, and then you can download it in audio format so you can take it with you.
Some people might say, but Jonathan, is that legal? And you would say,
I'm not sure, maybe. So, but just leave a like or a comment just so we know what you like. And like, if you want us to talk about anything specific, just put it down in the comments below. We'll
talk about
look
anything.
at it. Yeah, we'll talk about anything. I don't give a shit.
Gay marriage.
Damn, you just went there, huh?
Hey,
Right,
porn I'm watching.
You like the things I'm subscribed to at the moment.
What things that turn me on, things that turn
All
me
right,
off.
well, there you go.
I'm an open book.
I guess. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Till next time. That's a shitty sign off.